Welcome back. Today we're going to be making brisket. I'm Rabbi Debbie Bravo from Makom. We're happy to be bringing you these videos. Really, all you need to make brisket is a piece of brisket meat. I buy it in the local grocery store. If you want to buy kosher brisket, you can buy that in some grocery stores and of course in the kosher markets. If you buy brisket at Costco, it comes not looking like this. It's a much larger piece and there's a bit more fat to cut off. So the best way to start is, of course, preheat the oven to 325, and all of the instructions are laid out for you in the description of this video. You take your piece of meat out and you'll see that there's just a little fat on the top part but a bigger piece of fat on the bottom. We're going to cut the fat off. I've just sharpened my knife because the easiest way to do this is with a very sharp knife. And if you can see here, you try to get as much fat without getting much of the meat. So we cut off the fat. Do not put this into your disposal. You want to put this right into the garbage. So we're gonna cut off these pieces of fat and go right into my garbage with all of the fat. This brisket recipe is very, very simple. As you will see, the only ingredients necessary are some salad dressing. So I'm gonna make this kosher for Passover, which means I'm using kosher for Passover salad dressing. If you don't wanna do that, or it's during the year, you can use any kind of Russian, Thousand Island, Italian, obviously any of these non-dairy salad dressings. And the only other thing you need is a simple pack of onion soup mix. Again, I'm using kosher for Passover, but if you choose to use otherwise, they will all work. And that's really all you need. Now you can see me working away at this. I'll be back in a minute to show you what the brisket looks like once we've got all of the fat cut off. So after about 10 minutes, we have a nice piece of brisket with no fat. I'm actually making two. I often make two at the same time. And I take my heavy duty aluminum foil. I put the brisket into my heavy duty aluminum foil. You need a piece big enough because you're going to create an aluminum pocket with it. So you want big enough to be able to close up the aluminum foil, but not so big that you're doing multiple layers. Try and put the front side up. And then you take your onion soup mix. Again, I use Goodman's kosher onion soup mix. You could use whatever onion soup mix you want. You're going to open it up, just spread it over the top of the brisket. I'm going to do both of my briskets here. And I've preheated the oven to 325. So not 350, 325. And once you've got the onion soup mix on top, you take whatever dressing you're using. Again, I'm making mine for Passover. So I've got the non-dairy French dressing, French, Russian, any of those are good. You want to completely cover your brisket, okay? I've got a tray underneath the aluminum foil. Sometimes, depending on the size, one bottle of dressing is gonna be plenty, and sometimes you're gonna need a half a bottle. So you just cover it, and this dressing becomes the juices for what will be your sauce on your gravy. And you just kind of spread it around so it's all throughout the brisket. And then to make the pack, you're going to pinch together, close it up on both sides tightly. In theory, none of it should actually even leak out onto the tray if you've done a good job of this. So you've got your nice aluminum pack. And we're going to do the same thing over this one. 2 aluminum packs. Close them up. Now, depending on the size of your brisket, you're going to cook it anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours. I've got 2 going in the oven at the same time, but I do have a convection oven, so I use the convection and we put them in separate shelves, and probably for these two it's gonna take about 3 hours for them to cook. We'll see you when it's done. So we're back. The brisket has cooled, either in the fridge or just sitting out a little bit. You want to make sure that you're cutting the brisket against the grain, so otherwise it's going to fall apart. And if it does start to fall apart too much, that's because it's too warm. Put it in the fridge. You want to do thin slices without it becoming mush. So you just use a fork and a very sharp knife, and your slices can be about like that. So you're gonna make a pile of slices, and then you're gonna put it into an aluminum pack and either put it in the fridge or the freezer. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. It's the next day and the brisket has been in the fridge overnight. We're going to first take the lovely sauce that was made and we're gonna put it into a nice big pot. Put your temperature about 4 to 5, right in the middle on medium, and just cover it so it warms that up. In the meantime, you take your brisket. This is my pack of brisket that I made to put into the pot, and I'm going to just literally take it from the aluminum and I'm going to put it into the pot. I'm gonna keep it on a low flame. Once I put the meat in, even lower than medium, because you don't want it to burn. And I'm just gonna keep it in that pot. It could be for an hour, it could be for 4 hours. Make sure you stir constantly. As soon as it's done, we'll have a delicious dish of brisket.